Yes. Sad.
Yeah.
Mars, there's a ball right there. 2 balls right there, but you want that instead. Yeah. No, oh, okay, never mind. Whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to say that we are back on track for some classic RV 8.4 River City broadcast shit. Got an interview with the good man's Arrow. That's Arrow with 3 R's. Don't fucking misspell it. Okay, boy, you were supposed to catch that. Everyone say hi to Mars, RV8's mascot. I hope everyone's just having a good time, good day. As you know on this channel, I be thinking, for good or bad, better or worse, I be thinking a lot, and I am truly bothered by this world and how just obviously blatant. Jesus Christ, bro, what is it? It's very angering how blatant evil is these days. I think that for a long time, because of the lack of like social media and this like fully collective like conversation that everyone perpetually has like all the time, things were just like easier to like be understood, without all of this access to internet. Like, I couldn't blame a lot of people for being lied to or being convinced that the concept of terrorism even being a real thing, which there are bad people out here. There's some really bad people out there. Terrorism in the sense of, oh, you went away. Terrorism in the concept of like, these small organized groups of people who are just like all across the world, just like their only goal is for hate and evil. Like, I don't believe in that anymore. I do believe that the real terrorists are like corporations and like the government, but I think there's this false justification where it's like the money, the power, and stuff like that. Like, that's okay. That's why we're allowed to do this. It benefits the economy. It makes things better. Like, it doesn't. You know what I mean? All of this war. There's always a child. There's always children involved, and I think that if you can't fight your battles without harming a child or harming an innocent, you shouldn't be fighting them. The same way that like our economy isn't bad if people are thriving. We're using this number statistic thing where like, businesses have a lot of dollars, that means the economy is good. And meanwhile, like, hey, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I do this because I it's my hobby, it's my passion, and it's the only thing I think I'm good at, but I be struggling. And I think I've spoken about like personal attachment or personal involvement in things, like that being a valid motivator, because I feel valid when I am disgusted by politics because it's not benefiting me, or it's not benefiting my neighbor, it's not benefiting people who are poor. I don't think that our economy is doing well because of the fact that we still have homelessness. I don't think our economy is doing well because our money isn't being allocated to resources that everyday people can use. And so it is just disgusting how blatantly evil things are. And I think there are people in this world who are happy to be sheep, the people who like perpetuate these things. At the end of the day, it is upsetting to me that the things that happen because even if you're lied to, when you're told to commit something, like commit a murder, commit a rape, commit evil towards someone, you shouldn't have been coerced into doing that. Like, I think there's a certain point where maybe you might be able to believe that a group of people are bad, but to enact some form of violence where, like, the inner part of you that's human should be riled up. The inner part of you that is like a good person should be like angry. And clearly I'm talking about Israel and Palestine. Clearly I'm talking about, like, the people who have this, like, well, the children are just going to grow up to be evil. It's like, what? We're all capable of understanding the concept of learning. We're all capable of understanding the concept of, like, of evil is taught, right? I don't really think evil is an inherent thing. I think after you are capable of acknowledging, like, if you step on a bug for the first time and you see it squish, you should be able to comprehend what your actions have done. I don't think the first time you step on a bug is a bad thing, but if you know that you've taken a life, or you've done something, like your actions had a consequence, and you continue with those actions, that is evil. I have a strong belief that in the past, this coercion that people had, or this, like, blindness, it's not valid, but there comes a part where, like, I can not really. I don't really relate. I can't really can empathize with, like, oh, it was just the times. But now that we're all connected, now that we all have all of this, like, knowledge at our hands, literally in our hands, it's inexcusable. Evil is just inexcusable. That's all I really have to say. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're gonna cut to Arrow. And me, I'm gonna be talking to Arrow. Hello. All right, we are here, and it's wet as fuck. I think I can still record. Yes. Yes, and we are still recording. Alrighty. Bet that. Well, welcome. Thank you for giving me your time, and let me make sure this is still working. Yes. All right. If you don't mind giving your name and anything you want to tell the people about yourself, real quick.
My name is James, also known as Arrow 44. I'm known as a guide.
Guide. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. So my first question to you is: when did you start making music, and what motivated you to begin?
I was probably around like 7 or 8, and my brother was really into rapping, and so when I was really young, I got into writing lyrics, and started freestyling cringily in like middle school, as any like young boy does.
Yeah.
And it kind of just took off from there. I kept writing music. I got a couple instruments over the years, and never really released anything until like 2023.
So how many years between, like, the beginning and then releasing? It's like 10ish.
Yeah,
a decade. Okay, that's pretty. So you was locked in for a bit before you really put yourself out. Okay. Upon listening to your music, it's very jazzy, very rhythmic. I was just curious, like, well, one, you're your own producer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And then, so, like, who are your, like, musical inspirations, or just artistic inspirations?
Okay, Patti Smith, she's the fucking goat. Can't get enough of her. Bob Dylan, one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I love Dean Blunt. He's such a fun producer. Hangs out with some questionable people, but he's a really good producer. A$AP Rocky, just one of the coolest motherfuckers on the planet.
Of course.
That guy can say "mommy" and make it sound cool.
Yes.
and I do love a lot of Billy Wright. Yeah.
Who like introduced you to this music?
It was kind of a mixture of everything. My sister, when I was really young, introduced me to like a folk emo band, and like I said, my brother was into rap, so I was getting introduced to like two sides of the spectrum. And then discovered, I took the folk emo and I discovered the emo or the folk, while my sister kept showing me the emo, and that's how I found like Bob Dylan and like Patti Smith and the way cooler crowd of music.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I understand. In terms of like when you're making your or with the music and whatnot, what's the goal? Like, what are your musical goals? Like, what do you hope to see with your music?
Get it out. You know.
Of course.
I just want. I'm like a person who needs to get everything out of their mind, or else they're just gonna like implode on themselves. Um, and I've been touched by music my whole life. Like music's so important to me, and so to think that I even have like a smidgen of the effect that music's had on me through my music, um, kind of makes it worth it to put it out there. Want to maybe if at least one person resonates with it and fucks with it, hell yeah, I did a good job.
Fuck yeah.
You know.
I feel that one. My the next question I had, I just wrote down. Talk about the squad. You hang out around a couple people, like
Oh
yeah, like who are they to you, and how'd you meet them, and like
that's my family. Chris, also known as Aitson, met him at a show at like Get Tight Lounge, and I was going through some like horrible situationship, and he kind of was at the same time, and so we just kind of started talking about that, and then I think I probably like invited him to like smoke weed at my place, and then it just kind of we were best friends from the first moment we met. Yeah,
locked
we
in,
were
right?
like, locked in, and then through him I was able to meet the amazing and like gorgeous Neptune, and the amazingly talented producer Moon, um, and Slug. Slug's so cool. Slug's such a funny dude.
Yes.
Oh my god. But yeah, they're just such cool people. And like I was someone who like I struggled with like friendship, growing up. Like I was very much like an attention seeker because I was a military brat, moved around a lot, didn't really have a friend group to grow up with. And so it was kind of hard to make friends. And so don't take these guys for granted. These guys, it's like hell yeah.
Yeah, I too was a military brat. I find that like the older I've gotten, I think maybe I've learned to be friends with people, or maybe I just like all that moving around just kind of stunts your ability to like connect with people.
Definitely agree on the like learning to be friends with people, because like for a while I feel like I was just wanting people to be friends with me, and I was like realized one day that it's kind of like no, you need to be someone that people want to be friends with, and so you gotta like do a lot of self-care to have friends.
Of course. So let me check on this real quick. We are still good. Awesome. What is it? All right. So this one, upon listening to a lot of your music on SoundCloud, a lot of them don't have words or lyrics. One of the last times an album hit the top 100 was when Grover Washington released Wine Light. And since then, that was in 1980. Since then, it's been like very sporadic songs that have really like reached heights that have no words to them. And my question is what is the importance of listening to music that doesn't have words in it?
I guess one trains the ear. The more singled out you can like hear a song without focusing too much on like the message that's being told. If you can like find a message being told through just sound, you're doing a lot for your like developmental skills on music. And also, sometimes you just have to think, and I think listening to music is a great way to get yourself to start thinking. I think sometimes when we're listening to music with lyrics, you can get caught up thinking what that song wants you to think about. Whereas, like, every instrumental song, I feel like everyone hears it differently. There's no two people that hear like the same instrumental like the same way.
No,
You
of
know.
course. It's like real. It's like audio paintings. Like
Yeah.
you can see the same image, but just see it differently. Um, so from what little that I do know about you, I am aware that you're kind of like a conscious individual. I think you're like aware of what's going on in the world and whatnot. I'm worried that this question's a little mid in the sense that like there's a lot of issues going on right now, and I think maybe they're all centered around the same thing or not. But what do you feel like is the most pressing or important issue that people need to be focusing on today, especially in America? Yeah, sorry.
Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, y'all, you need to get better self love, and you need to get more spiritual. You need to rid the hate out of your heart, not just the hate for others that aren't like you, but the deep rooted hate that you have for yourself. That's been taught to you. You need to get rid of that and reset it. And I think when I say spirituality, people need to dive into that, into like collective consciousness, um, and understand that like you exist on the inside. The vessel has nothing to do with your personality or who you are. You know, everything exists internally.
Mhm. I like to say, me and my friends, we have this quote. It's called "No flesh, no bones." Can't take it with you, so you gotta worry about that internal self type shit. Like,
Yeah.
no, I think that I agree with you. Like, exactly. Like, a lot of people, I think, are what's the word, projecting, if anything, and then like, people with power doing that projection is just ruining the world a little bit.
I think if everyone just like starts like trying to love themselves a bit better, we'll see more progress. But we live in a world where like self hate is just ingrained, you know. And I think people need to understand that like, yeah, you're not the best, but you're all right, you know.
I like that.
And like loving self is hard, but hating's kind of overboard. You know,
It's a bit much, y'all.
it's a bit much.
Yeah, I hear you. I like that. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of similar, but what are your feelings about like community and how important is it to be involved in a community?
Um, I think community is something that everyone needs. You need to have like people that you see as your comrade. Um, I think also it kind of goes to the collective consciousness thing, you know, and people feel good overall when they feel like they've done something that impacts the world or the community. Um, and so, if people are a part of a community, it'll more likely than not encourage them to be kinder to those people and do more for those people.
Mhm.
And that could translate to outside of their community and just into the world. Um, but I think being a part of your community is shown in various ways. You know, there's like the activists that like show up every day and are on the streets and handing out food and water and like protesting. And then there are also people that, you know, kind of scared to go outside, you know. And so maybe there's like digital protesters or, you know, musicians that just like try to release songs that are relevant to the time. And I think those should not be undermined. I think if you care about your community and show that you care, you're being a part of your community. You know, it's not just about going out, but do go out. Do go out.
To go out, touch some grass.
Touch some grass. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, it can be about music, it can be about anything. But what is next for Arrow? What's next for you?
I'm currently working on a screenplay. We're in its second draft right now. Just a little short film that I'm making. It'll be my like directorial and writing debut, which will be really cool because, you know, music's really fun. But ever since I was like young, I wanted to do film. film's cool. Film is like literally the coolest thing on earth. Just you know, kind of the same thing with music, but like having the idea of having like a movie that I made impact someone the way that movies have impacted me. It's like, yeah, that's a crazy response, because I think everyone has a film that's changed their brain trajectory. You know,
What was that film for you?
oh, Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Oh,
for sure.
Oh, the classic. Yes,
Yeah, for
yes.
sure. I remember like being like young, sitting there watching it, and the first time she just goes like, you're different. I was like, damn, I get it. All right, that sucks. Oh
No.
man, I'm different.
No, I get that completely. So, in terms of like art, like what do you feel like maybe you've learned from like music that you might be able to like translate into film, or like what are what was I trying to say? What's the overlap of creativity there? Like what do you feel is the connection?
We're all here to embody the transcendent, and so I just try to portray that the best way that I could through my art, and just try to make the most like pure art that I want to see made.
What's been so? Are you're not done with the screenplay yet?
We like finished the first rough draft, but now we're starting like the editorial phases of the draft.
In terms of writing that first draft, what was like the difficult part? Like what were you running into maybe?
I don't want to say I'm like a goated writer and nothing's hard for me when it comes to writing, but like it's kind of the case. But I guess like one of the more like odd things is it's like I'm writing for this like a lesbian relationship, and grown up most of my life identifying as a man, and I've had like same-sex relations, but I don't think two men care for each other the same way that two women could. That's something completely different, something completely sacred, and so organic that like is really impossible for me to get a full grasp on. And so I've been like reaching out to like all my friends and sending them like the drafts and be like, does this look too much? Does this sound too much like a guy wrote this? Blah blah blah. And like some parts are like, yeah. And as I've changed it, it's getting more and more like no gender on it, and I'm like, hell yeah, that's good. We're not fully into like a woman wrote this, which I don't need. As long as someone's like, yeah, no, this is just a good movie that I read. I'm like, hell yeah.
So I guess it's like putting yourself in the shoes of Martian. Boy, come here. Sitting on the clothes, man. Anyway, so that part where you had to put yourself in someone like another, just a whole other person's shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that.
Because like I mean, I love women. Women are awesome. But I can't say that the way I love women is the same way that a woman would love a woman. Like I only have so much of like a scale of a worldview that like
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'd rather not fancy words.
When do you think this will be out? When do you think it'll be all complete?
So hopefully sometime next year.
Okay.
It's a road trip, so we're gonna have to like do a whole road trip and film it. But yeah.
Okay. This one's kind of a joke question, but you been watching Love Island at all?
No, I have not.
God bless you, bro. It's putting a strain on my thoughts. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I watched Supergirl.
Supergirl?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it a lot. I think it's pretty on par with Superman, but I liked it more. Mainly because there's a whole subplot where the bad guys are kidnapping young girls and forcing them into sex slaves to keep their full male race alive. And when I hear that Supergirl's not getting good reviews, I'm like, oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. It seems like it's the same reason why Superman didn't get good reviews when it's a commentary for the Israeli occupation.
Interesting. We're not fooled, people.
No.
I guess my last thing is like, is there anything you feel like the people need to hear, need to know?
Yeah.
Got to pull out the archives real quick.
I want to talk to all the lovesick teens and 20-somethings who see this video. Only in time you will see how true and how beautifully heartbreaking the message of this video is. And when we're young, our strongest urge is to hold on as tight as we can, even if the love we have starts to hurt us. Please know that this anguish you feel is a beautiful thing, and it means that you are alive with a soul. So many people in this world have dark souls. They don't feel the love that you do. They only feel the need to manipulate and use others around them for their own gain. All you need to know is this: no matter how dark it may seem, no matter how much you feel that the earth may as well explode without her or him, you are a being of love, and whether you like it or not, you will get so many opportunities to love someone else, and by God, how lucky you are.
Did you have that written or whoa?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you for doing this. It's been a while since we have an interview on the show, so I'm really glad to have your input, opinion, and find out who you are as a person. What is it? Let the people know, like, your Instagram, where we can find you, anything.
Yeah.
Plug yourself, basically.
You can find me at Arrow44 with 3 R's on SoundCloud and Instagram. And Twitter. I'm not on there though, but I'm pretty sure I have a couple tweets you can read. Yeah. Now I have an interview for you.
Oh shit! Holy crap! Okay.
What is your name?
My name is you can call me the CEO, Rose Gold Temple. You know what it is.
Okay. What is your relation to the internet?
Oh my god. I'm one of those people that, if I'm being completely honest, I'm addicted to it. You know what I mean? I got put on the internet at like 12. You know what I'm saying? I got my first Instagram, the same Instagram I still have. It's over 10 years. Been posting on that. See, I thought you were supposed to like be artsy on Instagram, and I think that unintentionally like led me down the road of art. My father's an artist and whatnot, but that I got tricked into thinking like, oh yeah, you're supposed to be like artsy, and so like, you know, yeah, I did all the aesthetic stuff, and I still do it. Yeah, and then Tumblr. Yeah. Tumblr got me, bro.
Oh, ruined me so much. What is truth?
Ooh. Truth is what you believe based off of the perspective and the facts, or based off of your perspective and the facts that you've been given. Some people's truth come from being blindsided, and you know, you can still have that truth, or you can still be truthful once you realize you've been blindsided, or you know, once you realize maybe what you knew wasn't correct. I think truth is just, you know, honesty to its best. You know, honesty as best as you can make it.
What is obsession?
Obsession. Obsession. I don't know what comes first, lust or obsession, but it's definitely in that realm. I think obsession doesn't have to have a bad connotation, though. Like, you can be obsessed with doing good. You can be obsessed with eating. You could be obsessed with doing bad things. But I think obsession is just like, I think the deepest part of it is like, it's what you're I don't know, it's what you really want, I think. And it's what you're like, maybe it's what you think you want. Right. I think that, yeah.
What is false?
False. What is false? So, I said truth, like, you could be blindsided, right? I think the false is the blinders. It's when someone knows the truth and is purposefully misguiding you. Maybe using bits of the truth to kind of like, you know, direct you in a way. You know, it's not like truth or false where it's like, is the grass green or not? You know what I mean? It's a false is a little deeper than that. I think I think falsehood can be a bit intentional. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it comes from truth as well.
What is instinct?
Instinct is like it's a deer being plopped out of his mama and then immediately standing. It's your body telling you you're hungry. But for people, I think it's a little deeper than that. It's like when you're like incapable of holding down a job because your instinct is telling you you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that. Some people's instinct are becoming doctors. Yeah. You're just supposed to be that. It's just what you're supposed to do. You hear all the time where people will be like their last year of law school and then they fucking drop out and they become the thing. That's instinct right there. It's like that. It's what you're supposed to do, I think.
What is authenticity?
Being uninfluenced.
What is beautiful?
Everything.
And what happens privately?
Well, I can't tell you that.
Well, then that's all the questions I have for you today.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Yeah. Shit. Thank you. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I personally hate labels because like I think labels come from us, like as a society, right? Like it's language, it's how things are distributed, it's malleable, things change and whatnot. But as every 10 years, every generation, every decade, as we progress forward, I think words change. I think this concept of a socialist in the modern day, it's not the same thing that they always say it is. You know what I mean? I think socialism in its inception with Karl Marx and stuff like that, like it had its, I think its particular ideology. I don't inherently disagree with it all. I just think that in the modern day, the concept of our taxes being placed, back into the people, that's not socialist. That's just how government works. And what I hate about the quote-unquote left is when we re-embrace terms that are being placed upon us. I think that there are people that represent, there are people who represent common sense, and because they're speaking out loud, they're giving their definitions of things and this, that, and the third. They unintentionally like feed into that stuff. I just don't believe that like people like Zoran Mamdani and the other people that are popping up. When I recorded this, there's been this new terminology, the mini Mamdani, being, spread. I don't think that these good politicians that are doing their job and taking care of their people, they're not socialists. They're doing their job. And if you have a politician that is taking your taxpayer money and is effectively giving it back to you, they're not being a socialist. Like, you asked them to do something for you. I feel like earlier I talked about the sheep who like being sheep. I don't think they know what they're talking about sometimes. Like, I don't know what their expectations for the government is exactly. Like, what are they giving their money to, and what is it for? Because it does infuriate me how, I don't know, it infuriates me about a lot of people's ideology about things, but it is bothersome that someone could say, like, you deserve rights, and you deserve, like, food, and you deserve water, and you deserve, like, healthcare, and there's actually people, and people are, like, it's like, people are saying this to people, and to, how do I explain it? I don't like labeling these people as conservatives or Republicans, because I don't think that having that political ideology makes you a dumbass necessarily. It's just that there are people who are being told, like, someone wants to give them free healthcare, and their response is like, fuck you. You know, like, when we help, when policies are passed to help people, you know, I guess, you know, as long as you apply it, it affects you. But, like, I like to think about how apparently sidewalks used to not have that little lip part, you know, at the corner of the sidewalk where you can, like, easily, like, you know, just kind of leads you off of it. Sidewalks used to not have that, and so they were sort of invented for people who are like disabled, like wheelchair. Honestly, anyone who needs help getting over those few inches of the curb and whatnot. But, like, because we invented those things, now people who ride bikes can just easily glide off the sidewalk. People who use scooters can easily glide off the sidewalk. Hell, if you're using a suitcase with wheels on it, easily glide off. Like, we helped out somebody, and it helped everybody. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. I think oftentimes, like, I don't want to get on here to, like, discredit people who are kind of, like, locked into their mindsets, right? Like, you can't make a brick wall stop being a brick wall. I'm not even here to tear down the brick wall. I just want to walk around it. I feel as though it's like it's these billionaires. They're, like, lying to people. They're paying lobbyists to basically lie. You know, Fox News is created to lie to people, to convince them to just give billionaires their money. Like, your taxes go to people that don't deserve it. People who own these really big companies, people who create data centers and stuff like that, like, you know, them not being taxed is taxes that aren't going to the government, and taxes that can't be redistributed for, like, healthcare, for free public transportation, to free education. It's like, it's effectively stolen money from you. And equal parts, like, your taxes end up going towards, like, military contractors, and, like, those of who own those businesses, those of who are investors in those businesses. Oh, I have to go to work in, like, 10-20 minutes. Should not be this tired. You know, your money that you pay in taxes just goes straight to Israel and all that other shit. It's like it's being stolen from you. And effectively, like, I don't believe leftist people, I don't believe in that ideology. Like, I think if you obtain common sense, if you have that in your brain, if you're, like, smart enough to be smart and to recognize, like, the idea of our system, the idea of the malleability of the American political system, about the government, about all that, because, you know, it works for us as we need it and as we see fit. You know, there's shit's being stolen. We're being hijacked. You know, there's this small percentage of people who are coercing the sheep, the people that don't want to really, like, think for themselves respectfully. I don't believe in this overcomplication. The concept of complexity is not real. You know what I mean? The only things that are complex are, like, nature. But even then, you know, the basic understanding of, like, energy being distributed from you know, how the trees turn carbon into oxygen, and how, you know, we eat food and grow and shit, and how our shit fucking, you know, goes back into the land and grows trees and plants. You know, like, that stuff's actually not that fucking complicated or complex to understand. It's fascinating. You know, I think complexity really just comes from, like, you know, whenever you figure out something at all that was complex to you at a certain point, after understanding it, it's no longer complex. So it's like this idea of our government being so complex is like, just fucking read about it. It's not that complex. If you're being told by a politician that what's happening or that this is a complex thing, it's not. You're being lied to. You're just being coerced. You're being lied to. I know this, and I love you, Mamdani, if you ever fucking watch this, if you're a person that's a fan. Like, I do like the idea of him. I just hate how often it's like he's the only one. And I hate it. I hate that idea. But, like, he openly explained to his people why certain things are the way they are. He didn't just say it was complex. He didn't, like, lie to the people. And that's a part of his job, is to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing it, and this is how I'm doing it. One of the biggest offenses that I just dislike about our current governor is her inability to explain what's going on. Enough people have accused her of just effectively lying, and to act as though decisions that she makes are these super complex things, and that it's you know, we're doing the best we can, or whatever the fuck ass attitude, we're being lied to. And this is where, you know, people who have democratic views, this, that, and a third, it's like, this is where, you know, you're losing people. You know what I mean? Like, being a Democrat low-key meant, like, the positive things. I think for a small moment, being a Democrat was, like, a positive thing. And I think that, you know, there was this wave of, like, yeah, everyone was low-key going to become a Democrat. And from there, everyone was going to, like, break off into their more specific, like, ideologies, because being a Democrat didn't entirely mean being stupid. It was a moral it was a moral thing. It was like, yeah, give a shit about your fellow man, and stop this whole white supremacy thing. And, you know, maybe gay people deserve rights. Maybe trans people are valid. Maybe this, that, and the third. And, you know, it all trickles down. Maybe don't fund Israel. Maybe this, that, and the third. And I just think that, like, these older people, they're stuck in their ways. And I think that, like other people, like other older people in general, they're unwilling to admit that they are wrong. And that's just why we're at where we're at right now. It's because it's a bunch of people who are unwilling to let go of their positions of power. You foolishly became only educated in politics, and now you can't fucking get a job anywhere. So now you don't want to let go of your seat. You don't want to let go of your position. You don't want to, like, step away from politics, because what else are you going to fucking do? That's why they all write books. That's why they all do this. That's why they all do that. It's like none of them have any extra skills beyond lying to us, beyond taking our money and living off of it. You're just a bunch of plebes. You're just a bunch of, like, sheep. They're just sheep. Sheep in wolf's clothing, you know, not even the opposite. There's not even wolves. I just think that it's like a bunch of sheep who think that there's a wolf, and they're either afraid of them or they like being the sheep. There's just a lot of people who aren't really educated. You know what I mean? I am not one of them. I don't think I'm an educated person. I'm not. I am doing my best. But I do have a strong belief in this lack of complexity. And I have a strong belief that our government can be simple, in that I give you money, you give me benefits.
으, 이거 쌀.